Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, kind of the name that Allah assigned to the surah. But we do not have evidence on such saying. وَقِيلَ أَلِفْ لَمِيمْ اسْمُ اللَّهِ الْأَعْظَمِ. Some people that said Alif Lam Mim include in it the greatest name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most tremendous and great name, the greatest of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alif Lam Mim, some people they said meaning Ana Allahu A'lam, kind of is like the abbreviation I am Allah the most known, the most, or like the all knowing. Again, these are narration but does not have evidence. You will read them in some books of Tafseer, but they don't have evidence. That's why we said, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we might say this is from the ayat that are allegorical, which means does not have an established meaning. The one does not have an established meaning, we said amanna bih, we believe in it. It's from Allah. However, say, can we go to dig some of the wisdom to help us? He said, of course. This is, the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I revealed this book for you to ponder and reflect and understand. So some of the wisdom or the dalalat or what Alif Lam Mim help us, or like, kind of a tool of education, tool of kind of help us, guide us, give us like reflection. Some of all what you already have said. So فيها أولا قال دلالة التعليم. دلالة التعليم. So it imply the ability or the fact of teaching. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم فإن نطق باسم الحرف فهذا محو لأميته. So if the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he started by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by saying the word or the alphabet, this is that it's like remove the illiteracy in the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. So the only teacher of the Prophet is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the illiteracy in the Prophet, al-Ummiyya in the Prophet ﷺ, is one of the greatest quality in the Prophet. So he is the perfect soul, and that only get from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No teacher had his influence on the Prophet ﷺ. No teacher, no wise person, no learned person, nothing had, to influence the Prophet, to really have the Prophet to have ideas in his mind, or nothing. So the Ummiyya of the Prophet ﷺ, it means that he's the only teacher of the Prophet is Allah. So the illiteracy in the Prophet represent the peak of the purity in the soul of the Prophet ﷺ. For the teacher of the Prophet is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Also it has another dalala, another implication or like meaning or wisdom of i'jaz. I'jaz is like a miracle. Al-i'jazu is of a challenge. That's the i'jaz. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to, especially in the society in which the Quran was revealed, and after that to the end of time, that the miracle that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down, which is the Quran, we understand why is miracle. When we say miracle, it's not the right word. Why is i'jaz? We're going to give you the element or the condition of things to be mu'jiza, to be like, let's say, use the word miracle, but it's not the meaning of miracle. We'll explain the meaning of i'jaz shortly, inshallah. It's like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying to the word, to to the people, to the disbelievers, especially those who refute the Quran, those who dispute with the Quran. Allah didn't make this miracle out of supernatural thing. He made it from letters that you use in your daily day to communicate. So Allah didn't invent new codes to send to the Prophet ﷺ, then they need to be translated in the language of the Arabs or the language of the people. So these letters that you use, Alif Lam Mim, are the letters that with which you compose all your talk, all your speech, your sentences coming from these basic letters. So he didn't say, for example, Alam. Alam, it becomes a harf. He said Alif Lam Mim. You know the story of the student who learning the Quran, right? When his teacher said read, he said قال ألم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. قالوا no. What ألم? You have to read ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب. So he said okay. So every time he says ألم, he said ألف لام ميم. So he said ألف لام ميم ترى كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل. Told them no. ألم ترى كيف. He said, teacher, you're confusing me. When I say Alam, you say Alif Lam Mim. When I say Alif Lam Mim, you say Alam. I said, that's how the Quran was revealed. Alam Tara is different than Alif Lam Mim, okay? So the meaning, like, the story to emphasize, like, Alif Lam Mim is not Alam. Are this disconnected letter? Every letter has its own title. It's like letter, the name of this letter, of Alif, the Hamza. This is the Lam. So you compose out the Lam, you use it, in infinite words to communicate. So that's Dalalatul I'jaz. So these words that they use to speak between each other, Allah made out of it the Quran. The second, the third one, so we have Dalalatu Ta'lim, just, collecting them from the books of Tafseer. So Dalalat Ta'lim, it's like imply to us the teaching of the Prophet, and the teacher of the Prophet is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Dalalatu I'jaz, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling to the humankind these words, and especially to the mushrikeen, those who, they perfect the Arabic language. This is the letter that you use to make your words. Allah is making out of it the Quran. The third one, Dalalatu Tanbih. Dalalatu Tanbih. Tanbih is like, drawing attention and drawing, subhanallah, it's like a way to call your attention, to call your reflection, to have you, focus on what is going to come. Because if someone talk to you in a language that you don't understand, or words that you don't understand, the first you're going to say, you say, I'm sorry, right? And then you give your ear, your heart, your attention to this person. So when you say, Alif Lam Mim, and you find everybody like, what did you say? And as soon as you say, what did he say? What does he mean? He said, Dalika. Look up. It's amazing, yeah? Huh? Subhanallah, dhalika. He said, what? He said, look up. And dhalika, ismu ishara. And ismu ishara is like a name to point to. For example, say, هذا الكأس, هذا is close, ذلك is far, ذلك far and high. So I want you to look like ذلك. It's subhanallah ism ishara to show the elevation, how great is the book that I'm introducing to you. So bring their attention, like everyone is like, in awe, like Alif Lam Mim, and it took a time, Alif Lam, because this is the sound that is being narrated to us, transmitted. So this is the sound of the Quran. That's why we cannot say Alif Lam Mim. Now we say Alif Lam Mim. I mean, imagine you taking this time and people like, astonished, like, subhanallah, they wait, and he say ذلك, it's like, look up, this. قال some of the قال فيه اعتبار الوصول من المرسل إلى المرسل. When you say ذلك الكتاب, ذلك, this, so it's like this book is being, kind of revealed from the one who sent it to the one who received it. ذلك الكتاب. So we're talking about something great, something, has a high level, dignified, honored, noble, holy. And ذلك الكتاب, so الكتاب, from this, high level is going to come to one who received it, with the Prophet ﷺ. Also, قال فيه اعتبار كونه في الغاية القاصية من الفضل والشرف. So when you say ذلك, as I have said, it is this book in the highest level of bounty, of nobility, and of holiness. Subhanallah. So you see, Alif Lam Mim is the key to submission. Because when you say Alif Lam Mim, he said, what he's talking about? What the meaning of it? It does not have any meaning. And I turn away. I didn't submit. Like he said, أَتَتَّخِذُنَا هُزُوًا. What are you talking about, gibberish? The one who wants to learn, he will listen carefully. Then as soon as he finished the meme, come ذَلِكَ, to lift your head to something high, great, noble, holy. What is that? Is the book. ما معنى الكتاب؟ الكتاب. One of the meaning of the كتب has different meaning. One of الكتاب is معنى جمع, gather. Another mean is عقد, conclude, like make a contract. كتب, like كتب عقد النكاح. Another meaning, كتب القربة, the jar, to lock it. كتب. وكتب الله الشيء, كتب also decree, made it to be an obligation. كتب عليكم الصيام, is decree on you as obligation, the fasting. So these are the meaning of the book. So when we say al-kitabu, it's not like book written in a book. So the kitabu, when we talk it from the meaning of jama'a, together. So which is mean, this a comprehensive book of meaning, of guidance, of wisdom, of the element of the true life. So kataba or kitabun is a comprehensive if a book that it has, it's the gathering of meaning, of wisdom, of guidance. Now كتب decree. فقال دلالة على أنه مجموع في كتاب also that. So if you take all this meaning, so كتب here gather meaning, wisdom, guidance in one place in the revelation. Then kitabun also means that is being safeguarded as a book in the Lawh al-Mahfuz, so no one can change it. Also, when you say al-Qur'anu come from qara'a, recite, and kataba also from write. And these two names of kitab and Qur'an, they come, subhanallah, to complete each other. Because al-Qur'anu is when you recite it and being stored in the chest, in the heart. And you have the book is in the lines by writing. And what is written will not be accepted till being conform it was in the heart, and what is in the heart will not be accepted only if it's conform to what is written. So what you read and what you recite need to be identical. That's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserved his book. So this is all meaning of the word kitab. And the kitab sent to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's not a message, timely or limited by time. So the message is going to be in a book, and it has contained all this, let's say, i'jaz in itself, to be the guidance for the whole humankind to the end of time. So this is the meaning of the kitab. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال كتاب أحكمت آياته ثم فصلت من لدن حكيم خبير. As I'll show you this ayah in Surah Hud. Surah Hud. So to understand, some of the attributes of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look, كتاب أحكمت آياته, whose verse are perfected and then presented in detail from one who is wise and acquainted. Subhanallah. Ali Hakimun Khabir. قال back to Al-Baqarah, ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. Now you see, we are doing our tafsir word by word and then to compile the whole ayah together. So we know ذلك what it means and what is, it implies as meaning and wisdom. So we know this book, it's high in level of noble, holy, kareem, etc. قال الكتاب. No, the kitab, it's not like in our mind like a book of written words. No, kitab comprehensive of meaning, of wisdom, of guidance, of virtue, of akhlaq, of morality, of all of that. Also, the kitab, when you're thinking about a written book, is being safeguarded in the Lawh al-Mahfuz. Kitab also that we recite, to really with reciting and reading to complete, as we said, the Quran, so it will be travel into the generation, safeguarded in the hearts and safeguarded into the writing parts. So you have always double way of verifying and safeguarding the Quran. Always, at any moment, in any generation, you can verify the book of Allah. They said, okay, bring anyone who memorized the Quran from those who know the Quran, and bring, a book that you have, and tell that person to recite and read, see the book. You find them identical. لا ريب لا ريب لا ريب. I mean, in English they say there is no doubt. قال there is no doubt, or like which there is no doubt. This is the book about which there is no doubt. لا ريب فيه. Now we can read ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه أو لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. So this is a way how to read it. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب. We stop. فيه هدى للمتقين. So this is a book with no doubt. In it is a guidance to the pious. If you read it in the other way, ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. This is book, no doubt, whatever in it, there is no doubt in it. So the coming of the book, the existence of the book, the sending of the book, it came with no doubt. The content of the book is all truth, there's no doubt in it. See these two so the sending of the book is no doubt, the content of the book is no doubt. The book is the guidance to the righteous, and the book contains the guidance of the righteous. فيه. So every part of the book is a guidance to the believer. Now, when we say لا ريب, the scholar, they talk about الدلالة والثبوت. There's ثبوت ودلالة. الثبوت is how, how true is that the Quran is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they said قطعي is certain from Allah. What we call قطعي ثبوت. However, when we're talking about the dalala, the meaning that the Quran, that you can understand from the Quran, it is قطعي certain. He said, yes, it's certain dalala from Allah because it's certain that is guidance from Allah. However, with the way we understand it, that it might include in a dhanni dalala. Dhanni, which is required ijtihad, effort to understand it. When we make the effort to understand it, we might be right and we might be wrong. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you make ijtihad and you get the right, perspective of the right answer, you'll be doubly rewarded. If you make mistake, you'll be still rewarded because of your effort. فwhen we say قطع الدلالة, قطع الثبوت, so it's certain that is from Allah, it's certain that it was revealed from Allah, and is certain in its message, in its guidance that it contains. Why? Because the Quran does not have contradiction in it. And Allah mentioned in 2 times in the Quran. Allah mentioned in Surah An-Nisa. Let's see it in Surah An-Nisa. I think I saw it earlier. Surah An-Nisa. We're gonna go a little bit far to find it. And in Surah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, 2 surah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us that there's no contradiction in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We went further. Here. أفلا يتدبرون القرآن ولو كان من عند غير الله لوجدوا فيه اختلافا كثيرا. آية 82 from Surah An-Nisa. Then do not they reflect upon the Quran? If it had been from any other than Allah, they would have found within it much contradiction, much discrepancies. So there's no contradiction in the book of Allah. So this is give us the certainty of the message that is message of guidance. Here, now the amazing part of this ayah, that it came after a contradiction, apparent contradiction. Look. Look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال وَإِن تُصِبْهُمْ, I read it in English, wherever you may be, death will overtake you, even if you should be within towers. Then, but if good comes to them, they say, this is from Allah. And if evil befalls them, they say, this is from you. Say, all are from Allah. So what is the matter with those people that they can hardly understand any statement? The next ayah, so he said, everything is from Allah. The next ayah, look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, whatever of good reaches you is from Allah, but whatever of evil befalls you is from yourself. So when you read, it said, but this ayah said is everything is from Allah. And then this ayah said, no, the good is from Allah, the bad is from yourself. You're going to say, there's a contradiction. And then he said, you read the next ayah, said, don't you ponder in the Quran? Had it been from other than Allah, you find in it a lot of contradiction. So he said, then I have to understand this cannot be a contradiction, because Allah telling me this here. The answer of this thing is in the Aqidah. If you want the answer, I will give it to you later. It's easy, of course. طيب, the other one in Surah Muhammad, we said. They do not reflect upon the Quran, or are there locks upon their hearts? So this is about the reflection. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. I mean, how they can, seeing discrepancies in the Quran, as you can see in the Seerah. Do not they reflect on the book of Allah? But the other one is more direct, because he said, وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجَدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. فنرجع here, لا ريب, no contradiction in it. Therefore, when we say here that is certain is from Allah, then we should say آمنا به كل من عند الله. We believe in it. All of it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So from the beginning, we need to set that heart to be fully submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because there is no doubt that is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That there is no doubt what Allah sent in this Quran is a guidance. One of the author, he reverted to Islam. The story of his coming to Islam was this ayah, this particular ayah. That was the particular ayah. When he read this ayah, reflecting in this ayah, afterward he accepted Islam. In this ayah, he said, nobody can say such a thing except if he is God. No one can say it. So what is the secret here? What did he see? What he saw is la rayb. Nobody confident enough to say in the beginning of the book that there is no doubt in this book. You're not going to find any mistake. I challenge you, you're not going to find any contradiction. Said no one. The wisest people, the learned, the highest learned people, the smartest people will not be able even to write it down. Said people, they look, even like when you look at your email, you read it twice or things. Sometimes, especially things like that, the devices that change your words. And when sometimes you send, you'll find like, you cannot even, nobody can read what you have sent. Why? Because things are changed. So that fact to just review, and if you're reviewing, if you write an article or write, an essay or write like a letter, and if you write a book, you're going to review it over and over. You give it for people to proofread it. Imam Shafi'i said, I don't remember, it was like a number of reviewing and reading over and over what he's going to send and publish to the people, is like more than you can even imagine. Why? Because every word has its meaning, and it might be a mistake that is going to lead people astray. And you cannot say, okay, after I review it, there is no doubt in this what I'm saying. As soon as you have your book out or your article out, there's many people who are going to, find contradiction or like overviews or the opinion or like people they like and people they don't like and so on. So, subhanAllah, reflecting on this ayah, said, La rayb, only the one who has all knowledge and the one who has, subhanAllah, like full confidence, only who have the all confidence. When you say not confidence for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has everything, subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى. So the only be able to say such a thing is the divine, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he accepted Islam, subhanAllah, from this ayah. Yeah. طيب. قال وهذا مدخل المؤمن في فهم معاني كتاب الله. This is the key here for the believer that will be able to understand the meaning of the Quran. It's in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. So from Alif Lam Mim, ذلك الكتاب لا ريب, لا ريب فيه. If we set our submission here, our humility to Allah, this is the key of understanding. This is the key of because the key of understanding, we do want, the believer, the purpose is not to understand everything in the Quran. To understand and to learn what is the great thing for your life. Because there's levels of people, there's level of understanding, but what the object or the purpose of the understanding is what help you in your life. فقلنا هنا وهذا مدخل المؤمن في فهم معاني كتاب الله. This is the entrance, this is the key, this is the gate for the believer to understand the meaning or the wisdom of the Quran and the meaning of the Quran. طيب. Now, لا ريب فيها, we said there is no doubt in it. So this here is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us this mu'jiz, this is i'jazi, this is a miracle. So when you say لا ريب فيه, this is a miracle. There's nobody can say, there is no doubt in his content, there's no doubt in his word, there is no contradiction, everything is perfect, everything is detailed, everything is truth. So this is i'jaz. So let's have, this is what I have told you in some, you might, I will not say go out of the subject, but take your time to understand, okay, say what the meaning of the i'jaz. Because I said, لا ريب فيه, and I'm going to say to people, I'm going to talk to myself, what the meaning of the i'jaz. And I want to say, where rely the i'jaz? The Quran, when you say i'jaz is a miracle. What make the Quran miracle? What make it mu'jiz? Many people, they talk about the scientific facts in the Quran as element of i'jaz. You say, no, it's wrong. That's a fact, it's not a miracle. Because it's not a miracle for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to talk about His creation. The people who were discovered later on, because of the accumulation of knowledge, but then you say, look, this has been discovered in the 20th century and 1500 years before it exists in the Quran. This is an element to open the eyes of the people to say, yeah, this is not possible. Like one who accepted Islam in Canada was a professor in biology, I think, and he was mentioning the stages of the fetus, how it's been formed and created in the womb of the mother. So, and he wrote a paper and to say this cannot be Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam who knew that at that time. So there's people, atheists and people like filled with hatred, they want to criticize these people. He said this is impossible, and he might have, Muhammad had, it's funny, I mean, it was so degrading what they said, if degrading for them. He said he must have, a microscope hidden in his cave that enable him to see the stages. That's what they said. So it's a magic, طيب. So where the i'jaz in of the Quran? When the i'jaz of the Quran in every letter of the Quran. So the i'jaz in the Quran, in the way the Quran compiled, in the way the Quran, in the eloquency of the Quran of presenting the meaning, the message, the teaching, the guidance. So the i'jaz in the Quran, in the nidhm and al-bayan, how clear, how give you the right element to understand it, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ, we made easy the Quran for reminder if there's anyone to remember. So al-i'jaz also ليس في عدم الإتيان بمثله. When we say i'jaz, something is challenging, first to understand that the i'jaz of the Quran is a characteristic, an inner characteristic in the Quran. So it's inner, or like it's a disposition, an inner disposition in the book of Allah. We're going to understand it. So, and the characteristic of the i'jaz is not that people or jinn and kind are unable to produce like the Quran. It's not that the i'jaz. Because people, they can say, okay, Allah had the power to make the jinn and the mankind incapable to do it. So is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala disable that ability for them to reproduce it? Then they cannot. Said that actually, Allah will never do that, subhanah. But this is actually not the i'jaz. Not because people, they cannot make like the Quran that it make it i'jaz. No, it's something else. And the fact to say, to bring other or to compose it, because why it's not i'jaz in itself? Because no one in the creation of Allah can be like Allah. So when you say to produce something like the Quran, which is mean you have to have someone who has as much knowledge as Allah, as much power as Allah, as much wisdom as Allah. So he has to be the all-wise, the all-thing, and this is impossible because there is only one God, La ilaha illahu. Now, كيف يا شيخ؟ طيب, who can say such a thing? Who dare to say it? Who can say it? Yeah. في الأرض ولا في السماء. سبحان. No, when you look, Allah has knowledge and human being knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala حي قيوم حي لا يموت, and people يموتون. So the one who never dies is like the one who died. The one whose life limited in time will be able to write something or pull a plan of guidance for the humankind, for people that he will not see. He does not know what their needs, how they think. So we have the natural limit of the ability of the humankind in all the perspectives. They cannot see all the colors. They cannot hear all the sounds. It's a faculty. I mean, it's like in the light. How many colors we don't see? We cannot see them. So it's not like because it's dark we cannot see. No, it's in the light. How many sounds we cannot hear, and so on. That that things that been justified and proven that they exist around us, but we cannot see them. So to bring other than the Quran by other things, it's impossible. So that's not the mu'jiza, because it's a fact. It's impossible. At the ayah that you have mentioned, who can say that? One time, wallahi, I said, I challenge, I can. In every ayah in the Quran is mu'jiza. Nobody can say it. So nobody can say it is not in the words. For example, who can say this ayah? Nobody can say it. Who can say, like in the beginning of the book, there is no doubt in it? Whoever who say it, the most pious person, everybody say, you are arrogant. How can you say there is no doubt in it before even you start your book? So nobody will read you because you are arrogant, someone who's really, kind of making himself like the greatest person. So he lose the credibility from this first sentence. طيب. قال and whoever, so it is impossible for any human being or the humankind, the jinn kind, to reproduce like the Quran, simply because no one of them can have any of the attribute of Allah. I mean, someone so merciful, and he wants to write a book to express his mercy to his people. Will be merciful like Allah? So he cannot. طيب. That's why whoever who say this is the word of bashar, of humankind, he's a kafir. as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did for Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira. قال إن هذا إلا كلام البشر قال سأصليه سقر والعياذ بالله. How can you say this is word of Bashar? So the إعجاز إذن قال فيما ينعم الله به على عباده من كتاب جامع. الإعجاز is in that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestow upon his servant a comprehensive book, that a whole system, perfect, complete, which guarantee the achievement for the whole humankind, their happiness in this life and the hereafter. That's the I'jaz. You know, people, they paying how much money, you know, to have a seminar telling them about the 7 keys of success. This book gives the success for the whole humankind, past, present, and future, in this life and beyond this life. That's the I'jaz. Who can give you such a thing? لا, not free. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال فَقْرَأُوا مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنْهِ. Read, even few ayat every day. So the most merciful, this is the most merciful. He's dragging his servant, come to my rahmah, subhan. This is, we want, because many people, they always talking about the scientific facts of the Quran, how the Quran is great, and this is the proof. Let not fall into this, you know, let's say, a thing like really had people to be deluded in a way. That's a fact. That's a reality. Yes, it's good for some people, but that's not the I'jaz. The I'jaz is in the Sharia itself. Look how many philosophers, how many politicians, economists, things, they're trying to build a system to guarantee, you know, some social justice, freedom for people. And look at the world. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent it down fully, complete, from subhanallah, from the deep down of the soul to the farthest point in this universe. Everything in harmony and cohesion if you follow the Quran. That's the miracle. And that's, you know, to elevate the understanding of our people, to not just be like deluded or being excited about, yeah, look, Allah subhanahu, I mean, it is true, of course. The stages of the creation of the baby, the, you know, the different waves in the sea, the shape of the earth, and they will give you so on and so on, you know. I said, you know, actually, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't only talk about that, He talked about how this creation is going to come to end. إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ. I mean, these things like, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about it is like not to tell you, look how great I am. No, He's telling you to reflect. Someone, for example, give you a device. And when someone give you a device to use it for your study, he's going to tell you, do this if you want to write this, if you want to erase, do this. Or he's going to tell you, look how great device. Look nice, how nice the color. Look, when people, they're going to see you, they're going to be everywhere like amazed. Right? So the one who's going to tell you things, this person, like, you know, he's like, why he created these devices? To show off? Or to be useful for a purpose. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He talk about His creation, for you to reflect, not to tell you like, you know, I did this, I did that. I did to help us reflect of the greatness of Allah. Like one of the scholars said, I mean, it's there. When people, they say, oh, God does not exist, said, okay, he said, bring all this, you know, whatever have you, literature or books. It does in any book. Someone claiming that he created the heaven and the earth. Very simple. If there is one any other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I created the heaven and the earth. I mean, even in the Greek mythology, they didn't create. They said like the word existed and the God is like part of the word, and it's like so like, you know, kind of, it truly is a myth, you know, it does not make sense. In all, subhanallah, the only one who said, I created the heaven and the earth is Allah. The only one. طيب. كتاب, a book, relate on us our life and give us the way to live and clarify to us the result of our action I'm sorry, and the truth about our action and what it result, and the truth, the ultimate truth. Per consequent, this book يوضح لهم معالم الطريق. He precisely, he clarify the path, the element of the path. And the element clarified as, subhanallah, you see object into the sun is as clear as you see object in the sun. That's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clarify as the path. Therefore, al-i'jazu is in every letter of the Quran, because the Quran is a comprehensive of letters, meaning words, ayat, surah, ajza, and that's in the Quran. So every harf that contribute in forming a word, in forming an ayah, in forming the surah, in forming the juz, is then i'jaz. So we cannot say, because people who say like they limit the i'jaz to the scientific fact. So it's like, what about this ayah does not have any scientific fact in it? So this is not mu'jiza. So I'm going to pick only the ayat that talk about, you know, things that related to sciences. And we're saying this actually approach. Why? Because people, they talk about science, then they, subhanAllah, they accepted this approach. It's like they submitted to the approach of people who making the science is everything. And then will come to defend the Quran through their own perspective and approach. And that is the problem. Already you've been defeated if you embrace an approach when it is very limited and restricted. طيب. Al-i'jaz, again, it's not, as I have promised you to tell you the meaning of the i'jaz, is not the miracle. Miracle in the sense of the word, that's something, you know, supernatural. No. The i'jaz has three conditions to be mu'jiza. Three conditions. The first condition, أن يكون خارق. أن يكون خارق is something, you know, not natural, something new. Something like is like, we can say supernatural, but not the miracle that's supernatural, but we're going to understand with the two other conditions. So something like the Quran is something like it's really, everyone was like amazed, astonished. That's the first thing. So it's a supernatural, which is mean like something is unusual. It's not usual. It's something is unusual. The second, that قال أن يكون قابل للتحدي. This is important. That this unusual element or thing is open for challenge. So these are words. That's why they say poem, they say things. So it's open for the challenge. For example, someone, for example, you see them in wrestling. You bring someone 300 pounds and one 250 pounds, they said, yeah, you can't challenge him. But you see someone 300 pounds and bring like a kid with like, 12 pounds or like 20 pounds and said like, this is a challenge. There's no challenge here. So when we say open to challenge, like people, they seriously believe that they can challenge it. Like the stick of Musa, the Sahara, they believe that they can defeat Musa because they have the tricks to do the same thing. But when they came, they find it that is supernatural, even though it's open for challenge. It's beyond their capabilities. The third condition, that is impossible to reproduce. Supernatural, which is like unusual, open to the challenge, and impossible to reproduce. That's the mu'jiza. So the mu'jiza comes from its word, the root of his a'jaza is like make the person incapable to challenge. He see it at one's reach, but he cannot. It's impossible. That's the a'jaz. طيب, any question? Just we take like 1 or 2 minutes to reflect on what we have said. And to summarize the methodology that we've been going to, So we started with the title, the Baqarah. We tried to understand the relation with the surah with the title. We looked at the the ayat that talk about the Baqarah. So we understood, the insightful meaning in it, which is help us to look at the meaning of Islam. So the element of Islam is more than what we, as someone understand. Just not to say La ilaha illallah. There's a lot of things, involved. And then when we came back to start our tafsir, we'll find that line or like the main focus that we want to emphasize on, we'll find it actually in the first ayah. So, which is like, inshallah, is good, to as we went back to the tafsir of our eminent scholars, past and contemporary, to bring all this together. It depends on its dalala in the ayah, because that ayah فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, it has different meaning at every ayah that comes after, at every ayah it has different meaning because it's related to the ayah before it. So if we take any surah in the Quran and we implement the same steps, it helps us to really enrich our understanding of the Quran. So like you go back, for example, Kitab, what is Kitab? Let's see the meaning, what Ibn Kathir said, Tabari said, what other books can I go to, there's application, you put Kitab, and then you have all this meaning of Kitab, yeah, this is, so on. La rayba fi said, no doubt. The thing about La rayba fi, Kitab, La rayba fi, this is very challenging, what the scholar they said about it, and you can read some of the scholar, maybe some of tafsir they don't even mention. Then you go to the other one, he said, yeah, this is yeah, mashallah. Then that's how we build our understanding of the Quran, by us asking question and ponder. The ayat always, are understood based on the way that we live, based on our time, because we have challenges, we have issues, we have a problem that we're facing, and then the Quran talking to us to guide us in the life that we live. So how we see our life, the Quran talk to us in the language of what we see. And that's how the Prophet ﷺ said, in every 100 years, Allah send who renew the deen. The renew the deen is like that new language that you embrace to guide you into the life that you live. So renew the deen, not changing the fundamental. No, it's like the new perspective to help you be guided in the life that you live. هدى للمتقين. هدى للمتقين. Guidance to the قال Allah much before a guidance and to those who ward off evil, those conscious of Allah, those who fear Allah. So you see, there's many definitions of al-muttaqeen. So then we need to solve this problem. I mean, this question: who are the muttaqeen? Now you see, like when you go step by step, you're gonna find a lot of questions, and those questions, by trying yourself sincerely to answer them, by referring, by asking, that's how we're going to really get soaked, inshallah, with the beautiful meaning of the Book of Allah. So, hudan lil muttaqin. So I have two words. He said huda, which is hidayah, guidance. Al-muttaqin, al-muttaqun. Let's keep it as is without giving the definition like fear Allah, conscience of Allah. Let's say muttaqin. At-taqwa is taqi, and like shield themselves from the wrath of Allah. But shield, muttaqi, it has, in the terminology of the Sharia, more like in depth. We're going to see it, inshallah ta'ala, more deep meaning. فالهداية هي الدلالة على الطريق لنيل المطلوب. Al-Hidayah is kind of showing the path, the road to get what a person is seeking, what the person is longing for, what the person wants to have. For example, someone say, I'm going to this destination. Can you guide me or show me the path? Say, this is the map. You can take this, you get there. Someone, he said, for example, as you see it in the life that we live, he said, I want to be, to achieve this degree. How can I do? He said, you have to register, you have to do this, you have to do this credit, much credit, you have to take this subject. So this person guided this person to get to his objective. So here, al-hidayah to them is implies the knowing or someone to show you, to guide you to the path to achieve an objective that you have. That's the hidayah. Clear about it. Type. Therefore, when we say hidayah, the way we have defined it now, it requires three elements. Three. The first one, a guide. The second one, a path. The third one, an objective, a purpose. Right? So say like, I want to be guided. He said, you need a guide, and what path you want, and what is your purpose. I mean, someone wants, for example, anything that someone has. He asks, for example, a mentor, a coach, a teacher, um, uh, you know, a guide to show them the path toward achieving their purpose. So the first thing, who should determine the purpose? Because the purpose of getting what you're longing for, that's the purpose. Who will define that purpose? If you take like the common element that everyone is longing for is happiness. I believe happiness is what everyone is longing for. People, they get it through accumulation of wealth, other through accumulation of toys, other through addiction, and they think they get in it. When people, for example, say, I want, my purpose is to be happy. So this purpose at this level is nadari. Nadari, which is mean like spiritual, or nadari is like it's theoretical. I mean, it's not tangible. It's not realistic. It's something that, you know, I wish to have it, but it's not concrete. It's not realistic in a way. Everyone wants to be happy. So for the objective to be concrete, to be achievable, require skills and knowledge of who knows how to make it achievable. Someone wants to get, for example, into law school or medical school. Is he going to ask a business person, in, for example, in trade? He's going to ask someone, for example, if in medical school, he's going to ask someone who really went to medical school, successful in his life, and he's, you know, he's already a physician, right? So if someone wants to be happy, wants something, he needs to ask someone who had the knowledge. So happiness, say, who had the knowledge of make it truly happiness, concrete, achievable. So this one has to have the knowledge and has to have the wisdom to make feasible the achievement of the goal. So to make it from what we believe or what we long for, to make it something achievable in our life, truly achievable. You say, you know, if you want to be happy, make a lot of money. I said, that's not true. I mean, I might have billions and have a disease that make me not even taste the food. That's not happiness. Having a billion and be in a mansion, lonely, nobody, you know, with this person, that's not happiness. So you are saying a fiction is a thought, it's a whim, it's not true. Subhanallah, for this reason, people, all of them, they fix their purposes, but they do not have the ability to control the achievement of the purpose. No one. I mean, when we're talking about things like happiness, and they do not review, you know, or all the time actually they review their project, if it's not going to work, it's going to work or not, and so on. So this is to come to understand that human beings, they are restricted, they have their limit into projecting, because you cannot project in the future when the future is not created yet. You cannot project or control the future. And actually people today, they believe that they can control their destiny. They can, submit the nature through the way of science, to really give them what they want. The fact that no one is able to control the future, to decide, what they want, or to control it, and to have it in their hand, make every purpose is either risky, or like there's a strong risk or presumption that it might not even happen. Therefore, the characteristic of the one who defines the purpose, must be the guide, he has to have this characteristic: the knowledge, the wisdom, the power, the kingdom, and the absolute will. The one who's going to tell you this is your purpose, he has to have the knowledge. So in the future, how it's going to be for you, he has to have that. Then he has to have the wisdom to set the purpose and know the path and the element and aspect of the path to guide you to get to your purpose. Then to have the power to have the purpose be achievable. Nothing will stop this guide for that thing to not be achievable. Then to have the power also to have the kingdom of what He going to make for you achievable. He say Jannah, He have the Jannah. When someone say, I'll give you happiness, he said, you don't have it for yourself. How can you give it to me? You cannot control it for yourself. وَالْإِرَادَ الْمُطْلَقَةِ, the absolute will. To guarantee the promise done to the servant. And that the path that is going to be in, people traveling in, that is with no doubt taking them to that destination that He promised them. So there's a need, to be certain that you're going to achieve that purpose. Because you want to get to this path, you want to be satisfied, assured, certain that you're going to achieve this purpose. That's why there is no guidance beside the guidance of Allah. قُلْ إِنَّ هُدَى اللَّهِ هُوَ الْهُدَى. Say the guidance of Allah is the only guidance. قُلْ إِنَّ الْهُدَى هُدَى اللَّهِ. Say the guidance is the guidance of Allah. So from this perspective, is really when you think of it from this perspective, in any path, in any objective that you make, you say, in this objective, okay, I can be, whatever I have projected or planned or has as a goal, I can achieve it. But if that achievement is going to give me what I have, planned, being, for example, the greatest engineer is going to make me a great person, is going to give me that happiness inside, is going to give me that peace. So it's really risky. It's not really certain at all. So who can give me that? The one who knows the meaning of happiness, the one who owns, the one who has the irada, the one who has the knowledge, the one who has the wisdom. The only one who can give you that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the only one to trust, to guide you to a concrete objective that truly give you this happiness is Allah. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the beginning said, قَالَ فِيهِ هُدًى. So when you say hudan, He guaranteed to you the guidance because He's the guide. He's Al-Hadi. He'll guarantee to you the path and guarantee to you not the achievement that you're going to get to your destiny, that you're going to be and have what you have promised. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Inna wa'dallahi haqq, the promise of Allah is the promise of the truth. So there's no guidance except the guidance of Allah. إذن فالهدف يحققه الله لك والطريق يبينه الله لك. The purpose, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala define it for you and He will achieve it for you if you follow His guidance. And the path, Allah clarify it for you and make it clear to you. To do that, to benefit of this great gift, is فعليك أن تجعل مراداتك في الحياة خاضعة لما يريده الله. You have to have all what you want in your life be submitted to the intent of Allah. So we need to understand Allah's intent in the Quran to submit our intention and our goals to His subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the meaning of guidance here, to make your objective, your intent of life conform to Allah's subhanahu wa ta'ala intent of life to you. That's why we summarize in one word the pleasure of Allah. If you seek the pleasure of Allah, you submit yourself to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, then for your intent in your life is conform to what intent, or to the intent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to you in your life. Who can do such a thing? So this is, we have already a meaning of muttaqi. So he's al-muttaqi. Al-muttaqi who submit his intent to be conformed to the intent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you say the intent, it means like Allah's creation, He created you for a purpose, to worship Him. Then the worship must be your purpose of life. And striving for the worship of Allah to be your purpose of life, that striving make you, is the action of taqwa. So when you say fear Allah, which is mean striving to make your purpose to be the worship of Allah in your life, you only can do it through fearing Allah, submitting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So taqwa is not only fear Allah. Taqwa is the whole system of striving to make your life lived according to the purpose that Allah defined for you. So, al-muttaqi, therefore, after I have said, is the traveler in the path of the guidance. He's the one who strives to submit completely to Allah, to submit his action, his ability, his faculty, his capability to the intent of the guide who is Allah. Relying on Allah, متوكلا عليه, خاضعا إليه, خاضعا, submitting, surrendering to Him, turning to Him in every state. He faces all his difficulties, all his affairs with the help of Allah, and make tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At-tawakkulu, relying on Allah, is a natural result of being on the path of the guidance. You see people say you need to have tawakkul. He said, no, the tawakkul is actually natural for the muttaqi. Because he's in the path of the guidance. So the tawakkul is innate, subhanAllah, is part of the path. And al-muttaqi in this, in the meaning that we have mentioned, he is waliyullah. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال من هم أولياء الله ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Let's read it here in Surah Yunus. Surah Yunus. Is all what we have said. I'm going to show you this ayah, and it's going to be, inshallah, clear. Remember, the path, the guidance, require 3 elements, right? What are these 3 elements? The guide, the path, and the objective. If your objective is happiness, that's the ultimate objective. Say, how can you gain happiness? You have to make like, purpose or like goals in stages. The one who's going to guide you to that, he needs to have the whole knowledge, the whole wisdom. So it's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is al-Hadi. Then Allah, by defining to you the purpose, you're going to say, how the worship is going to make me happy? See? So this striving to make the purpose, the worship, the purpose of your life, that's it. That action is taqwa. Because you trust the Hadi, the guide, in showing you the path and defining to you the purpose, because that future is out of your reach. You cannot control it. If I let my nafs decide, my nafs like love money, love food, love entertainment, love things. So I said, so happiness is here. So if I will have much of this in the future, I'm going to be happy. That's what the whole world is doing. Allah said, no, I created you. Your happiness is in to find your harmony within yourself. Your harmony only can come through the worship of the one who created you. To purify your soul, to pure your heart, and to do this element. So He clarified to you the path, define for you the purpose with which from illusion, from presumption, to be a purpose that is certain. Because, say, money is my purpose to accumulate it, to gain what I believe is happiness. It's going to give. But I get there, I will not have anything. So I build my path. Who was the guide? My nafs. Who was the guide? The influence of the people around me. Where the path? Who defined the path? It's the people, the society, that pressure. Everyone, you have to do this. Anybody has control on the future? No. So everybody, when he get there, he realized, wow. There is one of, they call them celebrities. He has, in one of the article, it was in, 2 years or 3 years ago, I quoted what this person said. He said, I wish, I don't remember exactly, he said, I wish that everyone, he will have as much money a day they wish to have. And then they realized afterward that it will not give them what they were thinking to get. Because he said, I'm talking about experience. I had fame, I had this, I had money, but I don't find this happiness. The action to say no, happiness is not with money. When I moved to the US, I entered to washroom, and I understood the whole word here, because they have a big poster with the layers of $20 bill, and it said 1 million. So everyone who look at this poster, he feel like already rich, because it was not very tall. When you put $20 on top of each other, 1 million is not that tall. So everybody who like dream said, oh, this is feasible. And that's it. That life of that person is lost. Start to cheat, steal, do things just to get that pile of $20. Alhamdulillah, Allah the guide, He tell you, have a pile of piety in your heart. طيب. The ayah. We finish with this ayah. Are we? Where is it? Here, I read. Look, ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Behold, verily, on the friends of Allah, there's no fear, no shall they grieve. The awliya of Allah, those who believe. And then he said, the friends of Allah, and unquestionably for all the allies of Allah. So allies. لا خوف عليهم, there will be no fear concerning them, nor will they grieve. Look, who are the awliya of Allah? Who are they? قال, those who believe and يتقون. See, they put conscience of Allah, constantly guard against evil, who were fearing Allah, they keep their duty to Allah. So everyone has this translation. So what it means, آمنوا وكانوا يتقون. So what's the difference between iman and taqwa? The iman is your belief. It's the foundation that it make your soul to be longing for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pleasure. So the iman is stored in your heart, is dwelled in your heart, is an engine of action. So the iman, its thamra, its fruit, its result is the action. If there is no action, there is no iman. So the iman is like an engine of the action. But the taqwa is that action in every moment of your life to keep that iman being the engine of your action. So amanu, I accepted belief. But how I can keep the iman is always motivating me. Always my driving power toward the goodness, driving power toward purification, is that work that I do constantly, that work to maintain the iman being my driving power, is the taqwa. And you understand here, amanu is in the past, yattaqun is in present. Amanu wa kanu yattaqun. So believed, and they used to be always in taqwa. Action of taqwa. Action, 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 action. See, yattaqun, for those who study Arabic, that's mudara. Amanu, that's mad. Amanu, believed. You have it, accept it. It get into your heart. but how to keep it in your heart, how to maintain it, how to make it stronger. And stronger, which is mean that you see it into your action. What it mean, like someone, iman stronger, iman have more tears? No. Stronger iman, more action. We'll stop here, inshallah ta'ala. Do you want that we finish the Baqarah or we'll go to another surah? Not finish the Baqarah, the beginning of the Baqarah. So my intention was to do, no, this is not the surah. My intention was to finish the believers, then talk about the kafaru, then talk about those, look. That's why it was, subhanallah, is profound. The believers, then look, the kuffar, khatama ala qulubihim. You understand how important is the heart? Then the munafiqun, look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. In their heart, disease. That's the engine of the action. That's the recipient of the iman. Inshallah ta'ala, I think it will be beneficial if we finish. If we'll finish it, then we start things. So so the intention is to come to just the beginning of maybe up to 12, inshallah. Let's do it, inshallah ta'ala. Bi-idhnillah. It's important. Jazakumullahu khairan wa barakallahu fi. If you have any question, please do. If not, barakallahu fi.